Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Console Corner Show live with me. I'm your host, Bluball. And now we've got a special guest on our show today. He goes by the name Mr. Valencia. He goes by the name The Skipper. He goes by the name Skeppii. Let's see if he answers. Let's see if he's home. He could be sniping some e-girls instead right now.
Yeah.
Hello, Skeppii.
Yeah. Hello.
What's up, Skepster? How you doing today?
I'm doing great, brother. I'm glad to be here.
You're glad to be here. I like to hear it. I'm glad you're here, man. You're one of my favorite people now after HRX. I felt like we connected spiritually.
I felt it too, okay? The red carpet premieres. You were there. I was there. We were here, there, everywhere, okay?
Yes.
And that's all I gotta say.
Yes. And for those of you who don't know, during the break, Skeppii and I were having a little chat in the backstage. It's just a Discord channel called Backstage. But, Skeppii was like, you better bring the hype. Skeppii, how you feeling? You a little hyped?
Yeah. I'm always hyped, brother.
You're always hyped. Okay. How was HRX for you overall, both as a player and a spectator?
Well, as a spectator, obviously the first time I was there, it was great. High-res, the production value was good. I appreciated it. As a player, I think the only problem I had with it was the wait times in between games or the technical difficulties that happened. But other than that, it was great.
Sounds good. I mean, there's technical difficulties at any LAN event for any company. I mean, that's just goes without saying. So you went to HRX, you went to Valencia. When you went to Valencia, you won it all. You were the champion. You were with Strictly Business on Xbox,
Yeah.
representing NA. You were coined Mr. Valencia. Who made that nickname for you, and what did you think about it?
Honestly, I have no idea, but I think it had something to do with me. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, but I'm embracing it. That's all I have to say. I'm bringing it in. I'm taking it and I'm throwing it.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing.
All right, and you go to HRX, but this time you're on a PS4 team.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Why move to PS4 and it wasn't your entire roster. You just brought Shu, who was your support player with SB, and you brought I think it was Whoosh, your main tank from SB. Of course, Wonderful was your off tank, but he was actually against you in the finals. He stayed on Xbox. He's near and dear to the Xbox lifestyle. And you had two new people on your team, SoldierBot, your DPS, and you had your off tank OG Comedy. SoldierBot is what now?
Okay, so basically what happened was...
Well, basically this was actually a topic I wanted to discuss with you. You two had problems when you first teamed together coming to PS4?
Yes. So basically, back in the day, I think it was SB days, Whoosh and Shu were obviously my teammates, and we were looking for... I was actually when we came back after Wonderful went to Elevate, and we were looking for people, and Whoosh and Shu said, who should we get?
I'm sorry to stop you there. Did Wonderful go to Elevate before you moved to PS4, or did he do that after because he didn't want to move to PS4? How that?
That was way before. Way before,
okay. And why did he leave SB? Why did he leave you guys?
He wasn't ready for the championship rings. That's all I got to say.
He wasn't ready for the... he won? It's okay. It wasn't a world championship per se because only 2 regions are represented.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
But so Wonderful left to Elevate, and then you were looking for players, and is that how you met SoldierBot, or how did this go along?
SoldierBot was a meme on our team. It started with Whoosh and Shu saying he's bad. Whoosh brought up we should get SoldierBot. Me and Shu laughed and kind of just went on with our days. And
So he was never really taken seriously at the start of everything.
No, not at the beginning. And then, I mean, egos had to be dropped because we were obviously losing and our land spot was on the line.
Egos being dropped goes to say in any situation for any team.
They should, yes. I mean, if you're going to go far, I mean, egos have to be dropped. Everybody's equal on some levels, but, I mean, you can't have an ego if you're wanting to go somewhere.
Okay, so I saw that on Twitter. It was the Curious Cat question website. Someone asked SoldierBot about you, and he claimed to not like you at all, and you guys really had a rough start as teammates, but it eventually meshed together, and you guys made it to LAN.
Yeah, over time, I mean, we won the PS4 side, so obviously in our minds, the only goal was to beat Elevate, and you know, if we're going to be fighting all the way to LAN and at LAN, you know, we're going to get first rounded. So we had to drop everything. And
so you said you made it on PS4 and your only mindset was beating Elevate. So you knew you were going to beat the EU PS4 team. You weren't worried about them at all, or what about that?
Swiper's team is great. You know, like they've been around for a while.
It's essentially the same team you faced in the finals at Valencia, was it not?
Right.
Did you go in with the same mindset that you had in the finals in Valencia, or did you go in with a different mentality, considering they had one or two different players?
Definitely a different mindset. I mean, Swiper's team was our scrim partners when we went over to PS4. They were a solid team. They were beating us, but we ended up figuring out our comps and we ended up beating them. You know, we kind of went in thinking that we were going to beat them immediately, but I mean, in my mind, you know, you can't just go and think you're going to win. LAN is different. Anything
that was
can
a
happen.
big thing. You know, I talked to Soldier about at HRX2, and he said that was a big problem. Your guys' team comps and your mentality when you came to PS4. Because on Xbox, literally most 90% of the teams run dive comps, and PS4 sits back and waits for you to dive them, and they advance once they get a pick or a kill. How do you guys adjust to that? You know, how do you guys, like, that was a big surprise for you guys when you came to PS4 and you were just getting ran through?
Oh yeah, we were getting smacked off cooldown almost most of our games, and you know, we had to adapt to the slow play until we started drafting the Torvald Buck, and nobody was running Buck at the time at all. I mean, some people were, but they didn't know how good bulk up was. And you know, you give me the guy with the shotgun.
That's right. That's right. You know, we made a video. We made a video with Swiper as BK in the hotel room, and you came out from the curtain.
Oh, I came out.
Yeah, which kind of scared me. Not gonna lie. Swiper's in the background screaming, "Here comes the windup."
Swiper knew what happened. See, Swiper was getting a PTSD session from that moment. He realized that the Buck was the reason they lost, and he was scared. So that's what happened.
So you know, you touched on the point that you were running a Buck and a Torvald combination with the field study. Now he has to thanks Grandpa Legendary. But at that point in time, you were running you know, field study. That's a 2,000 health shield. That's 40% damage buff, and you're using Buck. You know, you got the jump to go in and out, to escape, to get in. You've got the bulk up where you just heal yourself. You know, you've got very powerful DPS coming out of you, especially in a burst kind of way. You know, you guys ran the Torvald and Buck a lot against Elevate in the finals, and you know, a lot of people were questioning why you kept running the Torvald as your off tank and not picking up the Ruckus, which was definitely a big part of Wonderful's game against you guys. Can you touch on how your drafting was going, and what was the decision there not to ban or even pick the Ruckus? And Comedy is even one of the best Ruckuses people have seen out there.
So the mindset going into it was obvious. You know, Wonderful, if we give him Ruckus, we're going to have the problem of him getting in the back line, doing damage, and ulting on our foreheads. It obviously happened, but the thing about it is...
He was throwing out about 5 or 6 ults a game, that's all I got to say.
Yeah.
And he's running Chronos.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so what we were thinking is we knew, the whole mindset was we knew they were going to pick Ruckus, you know? So we were like, okay, let them first pick Ruckus because we know where they're going to do it. We're going to take other things that we think is better. Obviously, at the time, you know, the Torvald Buck was our best thing. So we give them Ruckus, we instantly get Buck Torvald. That was the strat for a while, but, I mean, it is what it is. We take Ruckus. They can get other things. They ban Makoa. So, if they ban Makoa, us getting Ruckus, it helps. But I mean, it just kind of threw us off. We didn't know what to do when the turtle got banned.
Yeah, that's a big part of Woosh's game. The one game you did end up getting Makoa, I remember there was a lot of hooks that weren't connecting to anyone, especially with the Grok totem there. How do you feel about your tanks play, both Woosh and Comedy? I know that was a big thing on Twitter after the finals was over. Everyone was putting a lot of pressure on your tanks and the way they performed. How do you think they performed?
Honestly, I mean, Comedy. I don't. I mean, I watched the games, but honestly, I don't remember. He played Torvald, right? Almost every game.
Yes.
His job was to keep me alive, and I mean, he did it. Maybe there were some plays that didn't happen that that we would have liked, but I mean, he was doing his job on Torvald for the most part. I mean, he had some bad games, but he had some good games. Woosh, on the other hand, I mean, they banned his Makoa. He was obviously doing something right on the Turtle Stew, so you got to give it to him. I mean, this Fernando game wasn't the best, but we were just kind of split on that Stone Keep map, and I mean, there was nothing we could do. I think, it's nobody's fault. It's a team effort. We lost as a team. We moved together as a team. Well, not really, because we broke up, but, I mean, it happens.
Yeah, you guys broke up, and everyone except for Comedy moved back to Xbox. Let's talk about that. Why go back to Xbox if you know that you can take PS4's NA LAN qualification?
The obvious reason is, I mean, Elevate won. SB won. Valencia. Obviously, the Xbox side is stronger.
Do you feel like that's because of the controller? Like, if you had an Xbox controller in your hand against Elevate, would you have done better?
No. That's not a controller thing. I think mechanically skilled I mean, mechanics are better. Some players are just better. Teams are more coordinated. I mean, people have been playing together since Overwatch days or Destiny days. We've been on Xbox together. Everybody has the chemistry. And, I mean, the reason why we came back is because Elevate's obviously the strongest team right now. They won the LAN. And if you beat them, you have a extremely higher chance of winning any future LAN, because PS4 they're good, but, I mean, Xbox has won.
They've got a lot of internal problems right now for PS4 NA. Would you say that's true?
I mean, I don't really pay attention to it as much as I probably should, but I've heard some things, and I mean, how many teams are even still around?
Exactly, is my point. People want to make friendships. They don't want to make money. Let's look at the bracket here. You're talking about you want to beat Elevate because if you beat them, then it's probably going to be an easier LAN, correct? So
Correct.
there's rumors that the next LAN is China. That's a rumor, though. Nothing's been confirmed. What do you think about last week's bracket? You guys were under the name Revert Aim.
Not my idea.
Do you personally like the aim settings, or what's your stance on them?
The aim was fine. I mean, I was grinding the game whenever they came out. I was streaming almost every day, and I was getting used to it. I mean, it wasn't good, but the one before this one, the one we're on now, the one before it was not good. I mean, it was the aim assist was off. You couldn't track. Like, that was bad. They upgraded it to this one that we're on right now, and it's better. It's a vast improvement. It feels fine if you get used to it. I mean, I turned down my sense low. That's the only problem I have with it, is you have to play on extremely low sense. You got to turn down the friction a little bit, but I mean, other than that, it's not bad. You grind with it, you work with it. It's gonna be fine. That's what I see.
I think the main problem is with the aim sensitivity is that people were asking for a way to deal with the aim lock, or what's the word? I'm drawing a blank here. Auto aim, or what is it?
Magnetism, friction.
Yeah, the magnetism and the friction of the auto aim or whatever, and they wanted to change that, but instead Hi-Rez gave them a completely new system, and I think that's what threw everyone off and put them in an outrage. And when it was happening and during the outrage on Twitter and stuff, my overall response was, they're not going to change it if you're negative towards them about it. You can be negative in a positive way. But now I don't even know, because Cards Unbound is thrown out the door, so who knows, right?
Right. I mean, there's two ways of going towards things. You can either get mad at it or you can adapt. I mean, the easiest thing to do is adapt because they're pushing updates out consistently. I mean, it's only going to get better. So if it's half decent now, it's going to be better next patch, and so on and so forth. I mean, high-res Chris put initiative in. He'd switch back OB64 immediately.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's doing a great job already.
Yeah.
Let's
If he sees console, then I mean, he might switch it.
let's hope he's watching right now. Let's watch. Let's take a look at the bracket here from week 1 of Xbox NA. How'd you guys feel? You guys had to come all the way from the first round as the 14 seed. You beat Sync, and then you had to play personally my favorite team that I saw, Chicken Sausage. How difficult was Chicken Sausage? They had 1 win under their belt at this time.
Chicken Sausage were top tier, let me tell you. These guys came out the gates ready.
So it was more like rotisserie chicken sausage.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I honestly don't even remember those games. I think I was on something. I mean, maybe that's the game I fell asleep on. Like I fell asleep mid tourney, so I mean.
Oh, you're falling asleep mid tourney and still carrying 4 people. Okay. All right, new settings right. Meta. Once again, they played today. A lot of competition in Xbox NA, of course, like you said before. There is one team that I was looking for, and I didn't. Actually, 2 teams. And I think who again was on the roster for Goodnight Moon? Was Miracle on there?
Old Goodnight Moon?
Yeah, the Goodnight Moon while you were on PS4.
Yes, Miracle is the one who made that team.
Okay, so Goodnight Moon is gone.
Goodnight Moons are there. I don't know. Heating up Goodnight Moon. I mean, Goodnight Moon's gone. So yeah, if that.
Okay, and I thought you guys were going to be playing under the name Heating Up and not Revert Aim.
I didn't pick the name. It was them.
Because personally, I think Heating Up is a sick name.
Heating Up's actually pretty solid, not gonna lie. But I mean, Revert Aim was what they were looking for, so I guess they took that one over.
I think they took Revert Aim because they knew you guys would make the finals and you'd be on that national stage or that that public stage on Mixer, and it would be seen. So the other team I was looking for is set to destroy X. Where are they now?
I mean, I've heard some things that that maybe they're roster looking. They're looking for other people. People are taking breaks. I don't really know. I don't want to put out rumors that aren't true.
Yeah, and neither do I. But I want to know, like, where are they? Because I know they've always been in the top 4, 5 of Xbox NA.
I think they're behind enemy lines. They're looking for members that they think are gonna fit. Maybe they're roster switching. Maybe they're trying stuff that we don't know. Who knows?
So they're chilling, taking a break. It's not a big deal. Just cash and crystals on the line. No qualifying for LAN yet.
Mm-hmm. We'll see them for sure.
So
I know.
Yeah, definitely. Let's look at. You guys didn't drop a single game until you got to the finals against Elevate. Now Elevate's roster is a little different now. Can you walk me through? What happened to Wonderful? I've heard rumors, but do you know the truth, or is that something you don't feel comfortable talking about, being a past former teammate of his, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel comfortable talking about it. Honestly, I mean, I respect Wonderful a lot. I mean, we used to be duo partners back in the day.
Yeah. I've watched some of your past VODs. I've seen them all over your stream and everything.
Yeah, I know I have respect for him, so I'm not going to talk about his business. But I mean,
that's fine.
He is banned for a time being, and I mean, I hope to see him in the future.
Well, whether we know what happened or not, that's a big blow to Elevate, and it caused them to move Satisfies to their DPS position, which means they were in search of a they picked up Shu and Whoosh as subs. I heard Whoosh is subbing as tank until Wonderful gets back. They still have Styles. GR Crazy is gone, and I thought when he left, Styles would leave with him. There was rumors that would happen because they're friends and they're duo partners. But I guess Xbox is not as as faulty as PS4 when it comes to topics like that. And they still have a strong roster. They still have Sir James Parker as their blaster and their main DPS. Uh, was it easier facing them this time with a different roster, or was it harder because your former support player was playing for them? Because I know you have Soldier Bot at your side, but you have 3 new members on your team. You've got Miracle and Trensic on tanks. Trensic's your side tank, and Jordan is your new support player. So walk me through how the new roster for you and against Elevate worked out for you guys.
My new roster, I like it, and I fit pretty well into it. I mean, they're all great guys. Everybody wants the same thing, to obviously win. I think, Shu, he's a great support. If somebody asked like who you teaming with, and I had the choice, Shu would obviously be on it. The games were easier. I mean, why not? Like, it's clear, wonderful. I mean, he's literally the best tank in the game. Like, I'll say it now. He's the most mechanically
on
skilled
Xbox
tank.
Or across both consoles?
Both. He's the best tank in the game. So, when you have somebody on a ruckus like Wonderful who's playing like a DPS flanking, you're going to notice him gone. So, it was obviously easier for us, but I mean, playing old teammates is always fun because if stuff, if you had some problems, then, I mean, you solve it in the gameplay.
Yeah. So, taking a look at the clip on the screen here, I see Trensic was doing a very wonderful, pun intended, job on the ruckus throughout the entire series. And your whole Leanne play on this Frog Isle map, you just controlled so much space by yourself while zoning, whether on D or on offense. Like, how do you do such a tremendous job on a Leanne? You're a very squishy character, but at the same time, you can highly sustain yourself, especially on such a small map.
Yeah. I mean, after the first map, I played awful. The first map on Talus, it was Stone Keep. I came out the guns, had in a different mindset, and my team recognized it, and I just played bad. Going into this game, I picked Leanne because it was a safe pick for me. I felt very confident on Leanne with this new aim setting, and I wanted to play it. My job was to just poke and make space for the ruckus, and obviously Grover was poking as well. I mean, I was in a position where I needed to play better than the first map, so it was just all about positioning and hitting my shots. And
yeah, you guys had the Grover, you guys had the Zin, you had the Fernando, and the ruckus on that Frog Isle map. You guys had a lot of poke potential and a lot of dive potential at the same time. If you guys wanted to sit back, you could, and if you wanted to just pound in their foreheads, all up in their grill, you could do that as well.
Right. Yeah. 100%. Our comp was great. I liked it. We had the aggression with Zen Ruckus. We had the pressure with Fernando, and I mean, they can't really do anything against Grover and Leanne except they're Cassie. So I mean, we were in a good spot, and we felt good going into that map, and I mean, we came out on top.
Okay. All right, and let's go through. We got another clip here. This is the Talus play on Jag Falls. You come in with the ultimate right here. You get the immediate double kill with your blitz upper. Walk us through how'd you just said you weren't as comfortable, or you came out too fast of the gate with the Talus on Stone Keep. You pick it up with a comfort pick in Leanne on Frog Isle, and then you immediately go back to the Talus on this Jag Falls map. What happened there? Did you feel more comfortable after getting warmed up? Were you heating up, or what was happening there?
I mean, the Stone Keep game, we were playing in two different mindsets. Half of us wanted to play highly aggressive. The other half was just playing for picks and playing safe. And I played too aggressive, and I was, just consistently jumping in when nobody was with me, and I played bad. It was just a bad game. But I mean, the Jag Falls, it's my favorite map. I know my routes, and I know what I need to do on Talus, and I mean, if you give me enough space, then I'm going to do it. So I relied on my tanks to do the heavy lifting, and I just kind of worked around them.
Okay, and how'd you feel about going against the damaged Damba and the Grok for the double heals? How difficult was it to do that? Because I know the damaged Damba has a lot of potential to hit flanks. You can hit people through their shields now. He has such a complex kit now that he has that card. How do you feel? Like, was he hitting you with those heals when you were trying to flank? Was it annoying, or what was going?
Oh, it was extremely annoying. I mean, playing against a comp like they had, Sat was positioning his totem and Bomb King was stacking on it, so pushing stuff was extremely hard because you're either getting hit by bombs, you're getting hit by shock pulses, they're healing through your damage, so you can't kill them. On top of a freaking snake flying at the back of my forehead with these freaking slither shots and all this other crap. So, I mean, it was obnoxious, and, I mean, Maldamba damage is good if you know how to play it, and Shu showed that. So, I mean, the thing about it is I think Maldamba is one of Talus's easiest targets, so no matter what, if it's a damage, I feel like I can just win the 1v1 easily.
This is my favorite part right here, where you're battling a Makoa and a Fernando literally by yourself for about a minute solid. No one, like, you were sustaining yourself so well, and then you did so well with the Talus after not on Stone Keep. You do so well with them on Jack Falls. You pull them out yet again on the Frozen Guard map.
Yeah. The triple tank com on the Frozen Guard map was all about playing highly aggressive, and Parker took Zen, which is the obvious first choice. The second would be Talus, so we took the Talus because I was comfortable on it. I was playing well. Buck was in question, but I mean Talus does the job. I was playing well on it. I like the space that you create, and he flanks well on Frozen Guard. So, I mean, if it's working, keep it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
That's right.
Let's. I don't actually have a clip from this, but this is a very important thing that I want to ask you. When you ran into your Bright Marsh draft, did you expect them to go triple tank?
No, not at all.
No.
Yeah, no.
and you guys also pulled out the triple tank. Usually you see a double heal triple tank. You very rarely see triple tank versus triple tank. There's only 8 tanks in the game. I think one of them was even banned, so there's 7 left. What was happening in the draft? Were you just like losing your mind, or were you guys just so surprised at what was going on, or?
The map, right, so the last 2 maps, I don't remember, it was Bright Marsh or Splitstone. Yeah, it was
Bright Marsh
is
such a small map too, so yes. It's going to make it an even messier match with 6 tanks just hitting each other in one small room.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, they had to go Splitstone or Bright Marsh. We knew they wouldn't go Splitstone because Elevate is strong on Bright Marsh, so before the game started, we already knew we wanted to go triple tank for the most part. We were going to draft the Terminus, try to get the Ruckus, the basics. And, I mean, Terminus is extremely good if you go nimble on a small map. So we get Terminus, and he can just, like, smack people in the head. So when they pulled it out, we were like, oh.
No.
And just kind of went with it. I mean, it was probably the most annoying game as a flank, but I mean, it was fun.
Miracle's play on Terminus was exquisite. The last time I seen someone play Terminus that well in a finals match was probably the Legacy from the EU team Flashpoint. He actually had a level 0 Terminus and had to use a basic build, so that was the funniest part of that. But Miracle was just exquisite with his Terminus play. He was diving their back line. He was, just smacking people in the forehead with a giant axe. How do you feel about your new tanks, Trensic and Miracle?
Well, I think, from my last tanks, Comedy and Whoosh, he was my long-term teammate, and I felt strong with him. Wonderful as well, back on SB. Those 2 tanks, I felt as they were the best tanks at the time. And as a teammate of them, I felt confident in every situation. And I have Trinsic and Miracle now, and over time, it's going to take some more time because I haven't been with them for the longest time. But I like how they play. I like their play style. I like how they communicate. Those 2 have been together for longer than anybody on our team. So, I'm happy to say that my team they're solid. I'm confident in them. I mean, the only other tank that's better is, probably Wonderful or Whoosh. I mean, Elevate. Those 2 tanks are the best compared to ours. I mean, they go back and forth. It used to be Wonderful was the best tank and nobody's contesting him, but that's not the case anymore.
All right, and let's switch sides here. Let's go across the pond to Xbox EU. What you faced this team, Grumpy Boys, before when they were under the name Gangstars at Valencia. They qualified again and lost to Elevate as Gangstars again at HRX. How do you feel about the whole EU Xbox scene? It's a very, very difficult scene. Week 1 they had 2, 4, 6 teams show up, and this week they had 2 teams show up.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I have respect for anybody who's on Xbox. I mean, it's been my home for the longest time, more than anything. I mean, any EU really, EU, PS4, they're great as well. But I mean, you gotta give it to them. I mean, they're troopers. They're sticking it out in a scene that's slowly falling apart, as of what I heard. But I mean, everybody in it, they're solid players, and I feel as if Xbox EU just continue to grind, if they start scrimming teams outside of what they already are, and they continue to push, then I mean, they could be contestants. But I mean, at the time, I just feel as if NA is just it's a powerhouse, and it's going to be hard to beat.
Okay, Skeppii. One last question here. Tomorrow's finals match for Xbox NA. You guys are the number 1 seed. Elevate's the number 2. Who's taking the 4th? Who's taking the 5th and 6th seed tomorrow? Second Nature versus 90210. Who do you got winning this matchup?
I think Second Nature takes that matchup for sure. I mean, I don't know many people on these teams just because of the names. I have no idea. But looking at it, I mean, Second Nature, they sound familiar. 902, I don't even know who's on that team. But I mean, from what it looks like, I think Second Nature.
Well, Second Nature was in the week 1. They actually lost to New Settings Meta, who you faced in the semis. So, 90210 was not there. Maybe that's the undercover chicken sausage. You don't know. They changed their name.
It could be.
Yeah, definitely could be. Well, that's all I got for you today, Skeppii. I want to thank you for coming on the show. You're one of my favorite players to watch and to play with. Unfortunately, I don't have an Xbox, and unfortunately, you claim your PS4 is broken, but that's okay. It's all right.
It's a little broken.
We actually, if anybody wants to follow you on Twitter or on Twitch, you actually have a command in chat. Just type !Skeppii. That's 2 P's and 2 I's. Just type that in. Yeah. Give us the what the. Yeah, there it is. Is there anything you'd like to say to anybody before we get you out of here?
Twitch.tv/Skeppii.
That's right. 2 P's and 2 I's. That's Skeppii, everybody, a.k.a. Mr. Valencia. Thank you, Skeppii, so much.
No problem, man.